Alrighty, everybody, welcome into Gnosis from the Main, and we're going to read through Ezekiel chapter 23 and 24. So, let's just get started. The two adulterous sisters, chapter 23. The word of the Lord came to me, Son of man. There were two women, daughters of the same mother. They became prostitutes in Egypt, engaging in prostitution from their youth. In that land, their breasts were fondled, and their virgin bosoms caressed. The older was named Oholah, and her sister named Oholibah. They were mine, and gave birth to sons and daughters. Oholah is Samaria, and Oholibah is Jerusalem. Oholiah engaged in prostitution while she was still mine, and she lusted after her lovers. The Syrians, warriors, clothed in blue governors and commanders, all of them handsome young men, and mounted horsemen. She gave herself as a prostitute to all the elites of Assyrian, and defiled herself. With all the idols of everyone she lusted after, she did not give up the prostitution. She began in Egypt, while during her youth men slept with her, caressed her virgin bosom, and poured out their lust on her. Therefore I delivered her into the hands of her lovers, the Syrians, for whom she lusted. They stripped her naked, took her away, her sons and daughters, and killed her with the sword. She became a byword among women, and punishment was inflicted on her. Her sister, Oholibah, saw this, yet in her lust and prostitution she was more depraved than her sister. She too lusted after Syrians, governors, and commanders, warriors in full dress, mounted horsemen, and all handsome young men. I saw that she too defiled herself, both of them went the same way. But she carried her prostitution still further. She saw men portrayed on a wall, figures of Chaldeans portrayed in red, with belts around her waist and flowing turbans on their heads. All of them looked like Babylonian chariots. Officers, natives of Chilidine. As soon as she saw them, she lusted after them and sent messengers to them in Chilida. Then the Babylonians came to her to the bed, came to her to the bed of love, and in her lust they defiled her. After she had been defiled by them, she turned away from them in disgust. When she carried on her prostitution openly and exposed her naked body, I turned away from her in disgust, just as I had turned away from her sister. Yet she became more and more promiscuous as she recalled the days of her youth, when she was a prostitute in Egypt. There she lusted after her lovers, whose genitals were like those of donkeys, and whose emissions was like that of horses. So that so you longed for lewdness of your youth, when Egyptian when Egypt when in Egypt your bosom was caressed, and your young breast fondled. Therefore, O Holibah, this is what the sovereign Lord says: I will stir up your lovers against you, those who turned you away in this from in dis, in disgust, and I will bring them against you from every side. Then Babylonians and all Chaldeans, the men Peoct and Sheol and Koa, and all the Syrians with them, handsome young men, all of them governors and commanders, chariots, officers, and men of high rank. all mounted on horses. They will come against you with weapons, chariots, and wagons, and with a throng of people they will take up positions against you on every side, with large and small shields and with helmets. I will turn you over to them for the punishment, and they will punish you according to their standards. I will direct my jealous anger against you and will deal with you in fury. They will cut off your nose and your ears, and those of you who are left will fall by the sword. They will take away your sons and daughters, and those of you who are left will be consumed by fire. They will also strip you of your clothes and take your fine jewelry, so I will put a stop to the lewdness and prostitution you began in Egypt. You will not look on these things with longing or remember Egypt anymore. For this is what the sovereign Lord says: I am about to deliver you into the hands of those you hate, to those you turned away from in disgust. They will deal with you in hatred and take away everything you have worked for. They will leave you stark naked, and shame of your prostitution will be exposed. Your lewdness and promiscuity have brought this on you, because you have lusted after the nations and defiled yourself with their idols. You have gone away from your sister, away of your sister, so I will put her cup into your hand. This is what the sovereign Lord says. You will drink your sister's cup, a cup large and deep. It will bring scorn and dispersion, for it holds so much. You will be filled with drunkenness and sorrow. The cup of ruin and desolation, the cup of your sister Samaria, you will drink it and drain it dry, and chew on its pieces, and you will tear your breast. I have spoken, declares the sovereign Lord. Therefore this is what the sovereign Lord says. Since you have forgotten me and turned your back on me, you must bear consequence of your lewdness and prostitution. The Lord said to me, Son of man, will you judge Ohala and Oholibah? Then confront them with your detestable practices, for they have committed adultery, and blood is on their hands. They committed adultery with their idols. They even sacrificed their children, whom they bore to me, as food for them. They have also done this to me. At that time they defiled the sanctuary and desecrated the Sabbath. On the very day they sacrificed their children to their idols, they entered my sanctuary and desecrated it. That is what they did in my house. They even sent messengers from men who came from far away, and when they arrived, you bathe yourself for them. Applied eye makeup and put on your jewelry. You sat on elegant couches with a table spread on it, which you had placed the incense and olive oil that belonged to me. The noise of a carefree crowd was around her. Drunkards were brought from the desert along with the men for the rabble. And they put bracelets on the wrist of the women and her sister and beautiful crowns on their heads. Then I said about the one worn out by adultery, now let them use her as a prostitute, for that is all she is. And they slept with her, as men sleep with a prostitute. So they slept with those lewd women, Ohalia and Oholibah. But righteous judge will sentence them to punishment of women who commit adultery and shed blood, because they are adulterous, and blood is on their hands. This is what the sovereign Lord says. Bring a mob against them and give them over to terror and plunder. The mob will stone them and cut them down to their swords. They will kill their sons and daughters and bring down their houses, so I will put an end to lewdness in the land. All that all women may take warning and not imitate you. You will suffer the penalty of your lewdness and bear the consequences of your sin of the adultery. You will know that I am the sovereign Lord. All right. So we're reading one more chapter. So basically what the Lord is saying right here is like there was again these two nations were just really really bad, and there were so many detestable things going on within these nations, and that's why he speaks of them how they do. This goes for like any place in the world. If the Lord was speaking right now, he'd be if he told me about Orlando, Florida, he'd be like, you know, it's prostituted itself, and and all that nonsense that, well, not nonsense, but like all the stuff the Lord said in here, he's talking about a full-on nation. That's why he mentioned Jerusalem, Assyrian, and all those places. So he's just talking about how like they're bringing in, how do I want to say this? So like Orlando, Florida would be the reason I say Orlando, Florida for reference is because there's an amusement park there. It's prostituting itself out to the public. That's what this is getting at with this. So there's something going on in these places that they're prostituting out. Like people are paying money to show up to, and there's so much mix going on there that the Lord doesn't like it and the Lord's not enjoying it. But that's just what I'm getting from this. It could mean something completely different. But just think about it. Disney and Universal are in Orlando, Florida. All right, how many people show up there in a day? A lot. And just think about how much, you know, if the Lord was here, he'd reference to prostitution in Orlando, Florida. So, all right, Jerusalem as a cooking pot, chapter 24. In the 9th year, in the 10th month, on the 10th day, the word of the Lord came to me. Son of man, record this very date, because the king of Babylon has laid siege to Jerusalem the very day. Tell this rebellious people a parable, and say to them, this is what the sovereign Lord says. Put on the cooking pot, put it on, and pour water into it. Put into it the piece of meat, and all the choice pieces, the leg and the shoulder. Fill it with the best of the bones. Take the pick of the flock, pile wood beneath it for the bones, bring it to a boil, and cook the bones in it. For this is what the sovereign Lord says. Woe to the city of bloodshed, to the pot now encrusted, whose deposit will not go away. Take the meat out, piece by piece, in whatever order it comes, for the blood she shed in it in her midst. She poured it on her bare rock. She did not pour it on the ground, where the dust would cover it, to stir up wrath and take revenge. I put her blood on the bare rock, so that it would not be covered. Therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says. Woe to the city of bloodshed. I, too, will pile the wood high. So heap on the wood, and kindle the fire. Cook the meat well, mixing the spices, and let the bone be charred. Then set the empty pot on the coals, till it becomes hot, and it coppers glows, so that its impurities may be melted, and its deposit burned away. It has frustrated all efforts. Its heavy deposit has, has not been removed, not even by fire. Now, your impurity and lewdness, because I tried to cleanse you, but you would not be cleansed from your impurities, will not be clean again, until my wrath against you has subdued. I, the Lord, have spoken. The time has come for me to act. I will not hold back. I will not have pity, nor will I relent. You will be judged according to your conduct and your actions, declares the sovereign Lord. Ezekiel's wife dies. The word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, with one blow I am about to take away from you the delight of your eyes. Yet do not lamentate or weep or shed any tear. Groan quietly, do not moan for the dead. Keep your turban fastened and your sandals on your feet. Do not cover your mustache and beard or eat customary food of mourners. So I spoke to the people in the morning, and in the evening my wife died. The next morning I did as I had been commanded. Then the people asked me, "Won't you tell us what these things have to do with us? Why are you acting like this?" So I said to them, "The word of the Lord came to me. Say to the people of Israel, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I am about to desecrate my sanctuary, the stronghold in which you take pride, the delight of your eyes and object of your affection. The sons and daughters you left behind will fall by the sword, and you will do as I said, as I have done. You will not cover your mustache and beard, or eat customary food of mourners. You will keep your turbans on your head and your sandals on your feet. You will not mourn or weep, but will waste away because of your sins, and groan among yourselves. Ezekiel will be a sign to you. You will do just as he has done. When this happens, you will know that I am the sovereign Lord. And you, Son of Man, on the day I take away their stronghold, their joy and glory, the light of their eyes, their heart's desire, and their sons and daughters as well, on that day a fugitive will come to tell you the news. At the time of the mouth, at the time your mouth will be opened, you will speak with them and will no longer be silent. So you will be a sign to them, and they will know that I am the Lord. So Ezekiel's about to lose his wife, and the guy's going to come to him and speak to him. Um, this one right here is a little bit difficult for me to depict for you guys because, you know, the Lord's saying that, like, he wants to take the sword upon these people because, even Ezekiel, because just everybody in the land kept sinning and all that. So yeah, I guess that's like, and then like, it's so badly sin, this guy's gonna show up and talk to him about the news. So, I guess what's gonna happen is the fugitive, is gonna end up killing Ezekiel's wife, and Ezekiel and everybody else cannot mourn because, you know, looks like the sin was just so bad that they did that, they're not gonna get to mourn. The Lord doesn't want them to feel any sadness or anything. So, but that's it for me today. I'll be back next time with uh, the next few chapters. So until then, take it easy. God bless you, and I'll be seeing you later.